Hello everybody and welcome to another round of the Virtual Circuit Racing GT3 Championship tonight as we visit perhaps the oddest of our circuits we've got this season of our 9 rounds. It's the Charlotte Motor Speedway Roval, only introduced back in 2018 or so. Even in that period of time it's gone through a number of changes. The chicane on the back straight is a little bit more tight than it used to be. It used to be a very quick flick to the left and then the right, but now it is a proper chicane. Admittedly, they are a little bit more open on this modded build of the Charlotte Roval. However, it is still the same challenge, and a difficult challenge actually. Short lap in these GT3s, but they feel very, very fast on such a confined circuit. So looking forward to it. Myself, Ewan and Paul Glover bringing you commentary tonight of this broadcast here on the JPB YouTube channel as always. Good to be back alongside you, Paul. Good to have you, first round we've done anyway, together on the GT3 Championship so far, a new championship this season. This is one of those races that is going to be just the one race, no reverse grid race here tonight. But as we were discussing before the broadcast, this is a little bit more of an odd circuit and not one that many people will have seen very much of in the past. Unless you watch NASCAR racing, I suppose, you wouldn't have seen it at all.
Yeah, hi everybody, good to be here. I was here for round 1. We saw Traffic King rump away with it. Will we see the same here? Yeah, a completely different type of track for me. It's not one that I'm particularly familiar with. Normally an oval, as you say, but it's got the inside layout now and very, very colourful, I think it's fair to say, and a little bit of a runoff. It'd be interesting to see what kind of racing we get here.
You do wonder whether it's going to be really, really hard to overtake or whether it could be so unpredictable that that everybody's side by side all the time. But let's wait and see, shall we, as these first qualifying times come in. We're just about halfway through this session at the moment, so with no real urgency, I'll bring you the championship standings so far. I can tell you that already the drop week has been applied very early on this season, so it's going to make the standings look a little bit on the strange side. But Josh Haythwaite is leading the way with 81 points. Effectively, the top 5 are made up by their scores from Road Atlanta last week. So Josh Haythwaite, who took maximum points, pretty much maximum anyway. Dan Sexton, who came second, just at 1 point in front of Dave Price. Chris McIntosh and Luke Woodhouse were not too far away. But as I say, they've all dropped their first round scores. In the case of Sexton and Price, that will remain the case because they weren't there. But for McIntosh and Woodhouse, it could get a little bit more complicated later on in the season as those 2 race evenings really take precedence. And it's these 1 race evenings where you've got to watch out because there are less points available. Still got plenty of those to come here tonight, and in 3 weeks' time again at Hockenheim, VIR, and then Kota, the last round of the season, will all be single race evenings. And, you know, not sure really whether there's anything to be made of that really here tonight, whether these drivers are going to be glad to get it over and done with, or they're going to be disappointed not to have got that second chance, if you like, with a reverse grid race, putting them back towards the front again. It could have been quite a tight circuit, actually, for the guys to come through from the back, to be fair. So that might have been interesting, but we don't have to deal with that this week.
No, we don't. And as you say, it is quite tight on the inside. I mean, it looks wide as a track, but what I mean is the flow of the circuit. It doesn't really have any heavy braking zones, as we see Chris McIntosh there into the wall. We'll switch to Dave Price, who's currently in P3 in the Ferrari.
Yeah, that's exactly where he finished at the end of Road Atlanta, of course. He goes for a spin then through that chicane, and say this is a little bit more open than it is in real life, but nevertheless it is still quite difficult to go through there quickly, because it is tighter than what it was when the circuit first broke ground in 2018. Well, I'll say that this, I mean, you know, it's a revamped Roval really compared to what it used to have. You can see that it's been quite modernly done. As you say, it's very colourful around the outsides of this circuit, that's for sure.
Yeah,
sure
you can't miss it, can you?
No.
At all. But it's got, I mean, dare I say, it's got a bit of indie about it, hasn't it? On the inside of the oval there. But again, I mean, that's quite tight and twisty and challenging to overtake if you've driven GT3s around there. So I'd imagine that, like, here will be a bit of a potential chance of an overtaking manoeuvre, especially if somebody like Addy's just made a mistake there and potentially too late onto the brakes, and we can see that right there's a solid wall there, isn't there, or barrier of some description. So that will do some damage if you hit that straight on at the end of that straight.
Yeah, so sort of policing the track limits that way rather than. I think in real life you have to come to a complete stop and then sort of restart again as a sort of penalty feature. I think it kind of works, but. See, we're just going for the manual route here. Same through this final chicane as well as we go on board with McIntosh here at the end of another lap. He's just less than 3 tenths behind Traffic King at the moment, who is the only driver as it stands in the 113s. 113.8, his current best, as McIntosh now makes his way through the middle sector. This is turn 3 and then 4, and he's going for a slide and a spin. I was hoping we were going to follow him through a lap there, but unfortunately he's not going to see the lap out as he got unstuck there through the very long turns 3 and 4, which you really have to make into just one sort of smooth corner if possible, but very difficult to do that if you're oversteering a lot, as we saw through there.
Yeah, and I think we're seeing a little bit of that from some of the drivers already during qualify. We just got out of 4 minutes remaining, that it's clearly quite easy to get a little bit loose, and I guess around in a circuit like this, it's try as much as any circuit really is trying to not have too much wing, but also not take too much off, because you need the aero for particularly this section of the track. But round on the banks, you want to be able to use your straight line speed to the best of your advantage.
Got the question in about where Luke Woodhouse is. I've got no idea, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, I found out he was he's not racing tonight. That's all I know. I don't know the reason. I don't know the reason behind it, unfortunately.
I did see one announcement he made midweek though about car swapping. Me and James were talking a little bit about this last week, but on Monday he announced a procedure for car swapping mid-season, and which says if anybody would like to change cars from now to the rest of the season, he's allowing 1 swap per driver at the cost of 15 championship points. So it allows those who are struggling with their current machine to get a car that they might feel a little bit more comfortable with. However, not without cost, of course. You will lose 15 points in that case, and he says he'll only be allowing that until Thursday, so yesterday, for round 3. I'm not sure whether he's going to reopen it again for a later round or whether that is the only chance, but the cost of 15 championship points, you can indeed change your car. I think we saw last week and maybe the week before as well, just some drivers really struggling with grip and struggling to get to grips with their car, but it's going to come at a cost if you change your car. I guess if you're further back and you're not really worried about the championship, then you might as well have a go. But for those championship leaders and those who are hoping to be championship winners by the end, it's not something you're going to take up, is it? You're going to stick with what you've got at the moment, and I think most of the top guys will have done.
Yeah, like you say, if you're right at the back and you're having a bad experience, it's not necessarily it's taking the fun out of it for you, then why not take a gamble and see if you could improve a bit and enjoy the racing, even if you're not up there challenging for the title. But as you say, it's a bit of a gamble, and I can't see Traffic King making any changes. He seems to be pretty comfortable in his car of choice. So unless he makes a jump to a different car, then I think there'll be a bit of a domino effect, because he's done it. But other than that, I can't, like you say, I can't see the top cars taking that opportunity. No,
I wouldn't have thought so. And indeed, Traffic King hasn't. He's going with his Ferrari all season long. Although it's not called a Ferrari, of course. I was having a bit of a giggle last week about the different names they've got for these manufacturers that are not licensed, clearly. Are these modded cars as well as tracks? I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. That's why they've gone for slightly strange...
so these are... you'll have to bear with me. So I can't remember the studio who's made them, but I should know. I think it's VSS. Is it VSS Studio? I have bought some of their cars.
Especially Race 1. They got the most points that we've seen all season from Shamo Samuel, but obviously not saying much because there was only one race in round 1 and there's 2 in race 2, so makes a bit of a difference. Through the final chicane, massively over the curbs there and into the wall pretty hard, and that's going to be the end of the session abruptly for Samuel. So again, a more open final chicane as well than what you see in real life. You really do fly through there, but you've got to use the curves well. Otherwise, you end up in the outside wall, which is absolutely there to collect you. It's the thing about a roval, isn't it? There's no runoff, especially when you get to the oval section like that.
Yeah, this is it, and that wall is solid as you like. So, only 8 drivers this evening, low on numbers, not normally this low, and be interested to see what kind of racing we get tonight with those kind of numbers. Are we expecting Traffic King to romp away with it again, or will Chris and Dave be able to mount a challenge this evening?
Well, I think it is going to be Traffic King the favourite, definitely, but I don't know, McIntosh did look pretty good in qualifying there, and he got pretty close to the best lap time there of Traffic King. So it's not going to be quite so simple, I don't think, for King, but also he is definitely the favourite, I would say, at the beginning of this race. But let's see how he gets on. Of course, it's going to be about consistency as well, and we did see McIntosh go for a spin, even just in the periods we were watching him through that short session there. So that's going to be a big feature here, and it has been at the season so far, will continue to be as well. That just the consistency of staying on the road is going to be a massive thing here.
It will, and also I don't know much about what the guys do with regards to qualifying and race. Do they have a different setup, or are they just carrying the same setup? So in qualifying, you are looking to try and take as much edge as possible, aren't you? So you might run the car with a little bit of a less aero, and it might be a little more slippery on the rear or on the front, depending on how you like your cars to drive. So yeah, maybe it is an indication of what we might see. We might see some cars spinning this evening, and also, I'm guessing that surface is slippery. I haven't driven around here personally, but I'd imagine that it as soon as you go off the tarmac, that stuff on the outside of the circuit might have less grip available to you.
Yeah, it's one of those, especially on a surface not actually used very often, which this isn't. Then you can definitely feel the lack of grip underfoot occasionally. So drivers now get themselves onto the grid on the backstretch here, and they're just about to get rolling here for the beginning of this race. Here we go. So the lights will come on and the lights will go out. The front straight not being used because it is banked slightly, and it is very, very short, of course, the front straight here as well. So the start line comes just before turn 11 and 12 on this opening lap of the race, but we are underway. A bit of a sluggish start, it has to be said, from John Hale in the background. Can't actually see the whereabouts of Luke James at the moment either, but this is the final couple of corners, and this will be the start of the first lap, if you like. It's bouncing over the curves, Matthew Addy, and Shamo Samuel follows, goes straight into the barriers as well, coming out of the final corner at the beginning of what is effectively the opening lap, about 30 seconds into the race.
Yeah, and Luke James is at the side of the track there, so I don't know what happened to him, or whether he started from the pits, perhaps. I'm not really sure. But as we predicted, Traffic King in the lead, followed by McIntosh, followed by Price.
Yeah, as we predicted, as you say, the order will just sort itself out in a moment. But Dave Price is pretty close in behind Chris McIntosh just for now, as he comes up towards the back of the back straight rather, and towards that chicane on the brakes there, using the painting effectively on the right hand side there just to mark out the braking point, and then on the other side McIntosh with a better exit, and he's not that far behind Traffic King. The longer he can apply the pressure here, the better it is here for McIntosh, and perhaps the more likely it is that he can force Traffic King into a mistake through one of these high intensity chicanes, and here they go again. That's the end of the opening lap. Hopefully the order will start to sort itself now, and there you go, Traffic King to the front, in front of McIntosh, who in fairness is not that far away.
Yeah, but we've seen. I'm not gonna get my hopes up yet. I feel like I've seen this before with Trafford and Chris. And Chris was able to stick with him for the first few laps, but then Trafford starts to open the gap up a little bit. So hopefully not. Hopefully Chris has got the ability, maybe the race pace, because I don't know about you, Ewan, but my qualified pace is absolutely shocking. Last night I did a race in Le Mans Ultimate. I qualified P10 and P12 for each race. It was 2 races last night. Race 1 didn't have a great start because I spun on lap 2, but race 2, I was able to get up into P5 overall, but then this moron got a stop and go penalty for speeding in the pit lanes. So happens to the best of us. But as you can see on this second lap, though, Trafford's opened a little bit of gap, and Price now may be bearing down a little bit on McIntosh.
Yeah, and this is the difference, isn't it? Because it's not necessarily a 1 lap speed difference that we're seeing at the front of the field. Into the ball for Dave Price, who spins to the inside through the grass. Oh, goodness me, that was a big hit on the wall. And Dave Price is into the grass. Is he going to go through the pit lane, or is he going to go back onto the circuit again? It's always one of those things where the game can get very confused as to where you actually are. He can get speeding in the pit lane penalties if you're not careful. And now his tyres are too warm. He goes for another spin.
Oh, yeah, that's unfortunate for him. As you say, tyres are probably overheated, and he's didn't have the grip there to make the next corner as he recovers. So, yeah, most unfortunate. It's now about trying to get your head together, take a deep breath. He's got the pace on the cars ahead of him. He's got 16 minutes to do it. I suspect he could probably get back into P5 at least. Can he get into P4? And has he got the pace to catch Addy, who's currently now in P3?
I mean, it's quite a long way ahead, though, isn't it? Those guys.
Yeah, well, he had that second spin, didn't he? And also the thing is, where he was in on the infield there, he's on the grass, right? And we know how tricky grass is.
Yeah. Yeah, as I say, surprisingly, I think sometimes you almost imagine that because you're spinning the wheels in the grass and whatever, you don't think that the tyre heat goes through in quite the same way, but it does really. And so you can, when you return to the tarmac, suddenly feel like you're on ice, even though, in fact, the opposite is happening to your tyres. They're far, far too warm in towards turn 1, and that's what we saw. Oh, Matthew Addy, the latest now. He has a snap out of turn 4 and finds the barriers as well. There's not a single corner on this racetrack where you can safely get into trouble and not hit the wall because of the tight confines of the facility. It means you find a wall anywhere, and Matthew Addy has found one there out of turn 4. Chamois Samuel now into the podium places.
Yeah, I was about to say Chamois catching up with Addy, and we got a bit of a battle on, but unfortunately for Addy, he lost the rear end, as you rightly pointed out. I was about also, before Chamois earlier on had his moment, and Chris McIntosh has clearly had a moment too. So that's Chamois into P2 now.
Yeah, he's really coming up the positions now, but how can he hold on to them here? Because there's still a pretty long way to go in this race as they come down in towards the final chicane now, up over the curbs and so on. Samuel sets the 16-1 and see the differences now for McIntosh and Addy, by the way. 22.7, 23.7. That's what a spin can do for you on just 1 lap. But the question is going to be now, can Chamois Samuel continue this on? Because we saw this in race 1 at Road Atlanta. I don't think he had a spin all race and therefore got to a consistently decent result. But in race 2, 1 spin led to another and another. It just snowballs from there. And obviously that could happen to the likes of McIntosh, Addy and Price now as well. But, you know, and to be fair, it could happen to any of them. But it's that first spin that you've really got to be wary of and got to stop from happening, because from there it does tend to snowball a little bit.
It does, yeah, and you get into your own head, don't you? And like you pointed out earlier on with Price, rear tyres, and you're just trying to get back into the motion, but actually you just got to let the car settle down, cool down a little bit before you can drive at the same pace that you were before, and that's where a lot of the mistakes happen. So I mean, I'm guilty of that. You spin, you get back onto it, and you're not giving the tyres the time to recover, and because of that, not going to give you the necessary grip. What I was going to point out about Chamois, I saw that he posted this week, he's got a new wheel which he was very excited about, and he was hoping that it was going to, make him a better driver. Of course, it's not about the tools you buy, but so far bringing him a little bit of luck.
Yeah, and it can actually improve your driving a little bit because you think that it will.
Yes, true.
Not in not in hardware terms, as you say. It doesn't actually really make a difference, but you feel better, and therefore maybe you're able to go a little bit quicker as well. I've seen that happen in the past, but sometimes you also have that period of getting used to it, which in turn you actually take a step backwards initially. But we'll see what kind of stage of that process he's on as McIntosh gets very close now to Samuel onto the back straight. Oh, he's pretty close actually through the oval itself, and now to the inside in time for the chicane, and he does get the position. What's going on there?
It's a very interesting flicker, that, wasn't it? Yes.
Never seen that before. Anyway, McIntosh does get through quite nicely. Yeah, what's going on?
I think we won't use that camera anymore. That for some reason's gone funny.
It's like a very cloudy day, very low cloud day. But anyway, it's clearly not. McIntosh up to second. I think Samuel realises the pace of these two, and he just let that go really. And you can absolutely see why, because McIntosh does seem to be at that quite a bit quicker at the moment.
Yeah, he does. And
oh goodness! That was a big smash.
But
and
so now
going on with his rear tyres there. I don't know what that was all about, but yeah, he must have damage after that. That was a really big hit.
That's the second big hit that we missed the first one. Yeah, that's unfortunate. But it just shows you, if you just keep it on the track like Chamois doing. I also was just conscious. I was about to say, I think Matthew Addy's catching Chamois up, but he's got McIntosh to deal with now, which might slow him down a little bit. Last lap, Chamois did a 1:17.3, but he did get overtaken by Chris on that lap, and Matthew Addy did a low 1:16, so about 0.3 faster. So, yeah, just under 11 minutes to go, and in the meantime, this man's just running away with it. He's 15 seconds into the lead.
Yeah, he's really controlling this race nicely at the moment. Just no mistakes being made. Look at the way he's just got this circuit absolutely perfected. We were watching him in practice a little bit just before we came to air, and he just looked like a driver who'd done the necessary laps. The way he's moving the car around here is, the look of someone who's done this before. Again, just making so many of these corners sort of about letting it flow into the next one. And that's a perfect example again there of turns 6 and 7. Right, it's just coming up onto the banking, just letting it flow really very nicely, and coming up onto the back straight now into the chicane, where it's a little bit more sort of about bounding yourself over the curbs. Mm-hmm. Same at the final chicane as well, but he's clearly learned this circuit very well, and he's absolutely dominating at the moment. Nearly 20 seconds his lead, just over halfway in this race.
Yeah, can't see anybody catching him at present, and he's no need to take any risk, does he? Like, I think John Hale's just had an impact of some description, so he's got Dave Price bearing down on him. Dave Price going on the inside now, up to the chicane. I think he'll have this move done. Yeah, squeezes John a little bit there. Dave Price up into 6. His next car is, what, about 10 seconds up the road? If I'm reading that right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Dave's got some time to find.
Unfortunately, Samuel's been off, it looks like, and has dropped off the podium places. That is a real shame. And again, hopefully this doesn't start to snowball now, because we have seen that in the past. McIntosh also with an issue there. So Matthew Addy now up into second position.
Yeah. Oh, wow. We've completely missed that, haven't we?
Only just happened, to be fair.
And Matthew Addy then currently on the second step of the podium. But we've also seen him make a mistake as well. So anything's possible. And Chris isn't that far behind him either. So watch this space.
Yeah, it's a very changeable midfield at the moment, this race. Maybe not for the lead, or indeed at the very bottom, because unfortunately John Hale has become our first retirement tonight by the looks of things. And is disconnected from the server now. Luke James is also just over 12 seconds off Price. So there's some big gaps down there, but further out front it is a little bit closer. You'd imagine McIntosh has the speed to get on terms with Addy again. It's just the mistakes he's got to clean up in the next few moments to get close to him, really. He doesn't have to go any quicker, just more consistent again.
Yeah, you're 100% right. Kind of similar pace. And even, to be fair, not far off the pace that Trafford's currently did on the last lap. So yeah, mid 115s. Yeah, Chris has got his work cut out. Addy won't be easy to get past.
No, definitely won't be. But will he even get there? There's only 7 minutes to go, just about 1/3 rather of this race remaining. It's one race evening here in the Virtual Circuit Racing GT3 Championship. The next one of them coming in at 3 weeks' time yet, so that'll be at Hockenheim before VIR and Circuit of the Americas to round out the season. They're all one race weeks. It's actually a reverse grid race double header in the next couple of weeks with Portimao and the Red Bull Ring. So both of those evenings will contain 2 races, one of which will be a reverse grid about halfway through. So we look forward to those, but just the one tonight, a slightly longer race as well as a result. And McIntosh is using that extra time, because it would be ending very shortly if it was one of those short races. Using that extra bit of time now to catch up to Addy and try and make a pass.
Yeah, he's closing the gap ever so slightly. You can see that Price is also now within 5 seconds of Bosworth, 5 to 6 seconds. He's got 6 minutes to get that gap down even more. See if he and if he gets past Bosworth, Samuel's not that far ahead either. So potential P4 for a recovery. We shall see.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, that's quite deep into the chicane there for Addy, but he pulls it up just in time there. Bobbles over the curbs, left and right. I'll say it's a bit more open in this build than it is in the real world. Bit of a tighter chicane, but still a decent braking zone in this build. This is definitely faster, as you can see. Very open chicane, but not without its trouble. I think maybe it's even more interesting than the real life one, because the wall on the exit is so close and really comes into play there at high speed when you're going through there in this build. But as I mentioned earlier, the banks, I was reading that, the barriers I was trying to say, and then I read banks on that sign. Barriers are very, very close anywhere on this circuit, and that has been proven to us already tonight. But McIntosh has picked himself out of those, and he's now properly behind Addy. This is a proper battle now for second.
Yeah, indeed. But he's got to, once he gets past, he's got to make it stick. No more mistakes, no more errors. Otherwise, he's going to potentially throw the second step on the podium away. Shamoy Samuel is approximately 10 seconds back from this battle as things stand. He's currently not in contention. But you just see that McIntosh just takes a slightly better line. Addy goes a little bit too deep into the chicane. He did that on the previous lap as well, didn't he?
And here he comes. McIntosh is going to have his nose in front by the braking zone, and if Addy doesn't want to contest this, then McIntosh should be easily through. It's one of those chicanes again where it's advisable not to go side by side, and so Addy feeling like the inferior driver at the moment, and he didn't have his nose in front by any means there. Feels that it was better to just let McIntosh go through, and Addy might have just secured himself a podium finish with that bit of driving there. We'll wait and see whether that comes true or not, but he's got a big gap to nurse behind now, and so he should be able to hang on. Let's see, but that's 11 seconds he's got to 4th place in the last 4 minutes.
Yeah, looking decent result though for Addy, isn't it? Bottom step of the podium. Nothing, not to be sniffed at all. Especially at the the beginning of the race, Price was in that spot, but had a rather big moment, as we saw. On ended up on the infield near the pits, and tried to get off the grass was tricky, and then immediately on the next corner had another moment because of the hot tyres, but here we go. Addy on the slipstream of McIntosh, trying not to let him slip away.
Is there going to be a move? No. It'll be a bit of a lunge from there, to be fair. So 3 minutes to go, and that should be 3 laps because Traffic King is so far in front of these guys. There will be 3 laps remaining. The King's actually, there it is. It's quite a nice thing about that camera, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like a dual carriageway or whatever. But yeah, different sides of the wall. On one side, Traffic King leading. On the other, a battle for second position. And he's only getting further ahead from the rest of the field. Bosworth now is catching up to Samo Samuel for 4th position, as well as Addy, who's finding a real resurgence in these later laps. He was passed fairly easily by McIntosh, but as soon as he's got him behind, he's been putting the pressure back onto the man in second place.
Yeah, it's sometimes it's just easier to chase, isn't it, rather than be chased. Of course, he'll be getting a little bit of the slipstream effect, but this is where Addy tends to go a little bit deep. There you go, look, there he goes again, offline, and that just allows McIntosh to get away. So if Addy can nail that chicane, it would really help his lap times. Yeah.
It's always a thing about these kind of circuits. Whenever there's a sort of, well, it's not a street circuit, is it? But when there's sort of a strange circuit like this and it's got a lot of chicanes in, like on a rover like this, or indeed on a street circuit, the chicanes are so vital to the lap time because of the way that they're so technical. And even though they're short sections of the racetrack, they are often really, really impactful. And if you can just nail them, you can gain a lot of time in a very short distance. And he just maybe lacking that extra tenth or two through there. And especially it's crucial moments in this circuit as well, isn't it? Because there's not a million places to overtake around here by any means. If you're not good through the chicanes, then you're going to struggle to get past. And McIntosh at the moment doesn't even have to worry about defending as Traffic King comes forward onto the last lap of the race. McIntosh is very much holding Addy at arm's length.
Yeah, and surprisingly, Price hasn't got onto the back of Bosworth like I thought he would. Still, the gap's actually opened up a little bit from what I can see, but then I don't know what kind of damage Price might have on board his car following that incident that we saw at the start of the race. But yeah, as always, Traffic King been absolutely faultless.
He has. As I said earlier, it looks like a man who's done quite a lot of practice this week. Maybe he hasn't and he's just making it look easy, but he is unbeatable. It looks like tonight. Nearly 30 seconds is gap over McIntosh and Addy, who admittedly have had their troubles tonight, and therefore will have, you can maybe take 5-10 seconds off that winning margin if you're looking for the realistic gap. But even when you do that, you appreciate what a big advantage Traffic King has over the rest of the field in this race tonight. It's only been 20 minutes, but he's completely dominated every second of it, from the end of the qualifying session and the start of this race to the end of it, and the checkered flag that's now waiting for him on the start-finish straight. Traffic King has dominated tonight, and he comes into the final chicane for the final time to win round 3 of the Virtual Circuit Racing GT3 Championship from Charlotte Motor Speedway. On the one race evening, Traffic King wins 1 out of 1, and comfortably so as well. Don't even think he made a single error throughout that. He was on absolute rails for 20 minutes there, and he wins by nearly half a minute.
Yeah, absolutely flawless. That's a champion's drive right there as we now turn our attention to P2. Chris McIntosh across the line. And then Addy takes the bottom step of the podium.
So there's your 1, 2, 3. Samo Samuel really being caught late on here by Bosworth and Price, but not quite in time, unless he gets this wrong. No, he survives under the pressure. Oh, he just scraped the wall, but it doesn't matter. He'll finish 4th, just in front of Bosworth and Price, who, as you say, maybe surprising that he didn't get back to the top 5 there. Luke James has finished 1 lap down already in 7th place, and of course John Hale already out of the race, but it was a big gap. In fairness to Dave Price, it was a very big gap out to Bosworth and a top 5, but you would still have expected him to cross that gap, but in the end just run out of minutes there, really.
Yeah, and time wasn't on his side this evening, was it? But like, how do you beat someone like Traffic King, who just seems to be on another level to you at the moment? But, Price will be kicking himself this evening after making that big mistake. That really hurt him for this race, especially with the fact that it is only 20 minutes. But like I say, I think you and I were a little bit surprised he wasn't able to get back at least into the top 5.
Yeah, it was perhaps a touch surprising in that sense. What wasn't surprising, though, was the name of the race winner, I suppose, Traffic King dominating. But, he's not going to be the championship leader at the end of tonight, I don't think. No, I don't think he will be. The problem he's going to have this season, I'm not sure how many races he's going to miss. Maybe we'll be able to chat to him in a second. But he's missed a round where there were 2 races. And obviously because there's double the races, there's double the points. That could provide a problem for him, even though he's doing a drop week. The others may be doing a drop week on a single race evening. And so he will be a little bit behind. But he's in the waiting room now. So I can't actually move people. I don't know if you can. But
yes, I think
maybe you can.
Maybe I can. Bear with me a second. I wasn't where I need to be. Here we go.
Here we go. And we can have a chat to the race winner. Trafford, welcome in. Good to have you with us. Congrats on the victory tonight. As I said in commentary, you looked like a driver who'd done a lot of practice before this race. Was that the case, or were you just making it look easy?
There was a fair bit. Dave put some... everyone was putting some mega times in for a week, so we definitely had to... everyone had to do a bit, especially around here as well, because it's just a case. I mean, obviously that gap at end was literally just a case of keeping it on track, and obviously everyone else had a bit of an issue. But apart from that, it was a bit crazy.
Yeah, because it's a difficult circuit, as you will know. What was it like to drive around here, though? It's not a circuit that's used very often. If it's not a NASCAR race or whatever, GT3s don't go around here very often. What was it like?
For me, it's normally an MX-5 on iRacing.
Yeah,
all curbs and everything, absolutely fine. And then you get in these, and that last chicane was just pure death if you get it wrong. Well, half at track's pure death if you get it wrong, but that last chicane, those bumps, that left-hand curb is just ridiculous.
Yeah, I can absolutely. Well, I guess we saw it as well from off-board. In terms of the championship, that's obviously 2 wins and a 1 race evening to go along with Bathurst a fortnight ago. But unfortunately, we didn't get to see you last week. So is it going to be a case of that's the only one you're missing this season, or are there going to be more misses and it's just a case of race by race for you, not a championship this season?
I think I can make majority of other ones. Last week I was at Silverstone, so I couldn't obviously make it, which was a bit of a shame really, because I like Road Atlanta and it was a double header. It looked like some good racing, but yeah, I'll take it with no ballast this week, and then back to it when everyone else is back next week with no ballast. I'll be all weighted up, so we'll see how we get on.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 or 3 of the top 5 not here today, so that does change things. But congratulations, Trafford, on a race victory tonight from Charlotte, and thanks for chatting to us at the end as well.
Thank you very much.
Thanks very much. Traffic King winner tonight from Charlotte Motor Speedway in this championship. Chris McIntosh also waiting. If you're able to grab him, Paul.
Sure, we'll do.
I don't like not being in control. Anyway, never mind. Chris, welcome in. Good to have you with us. Thanks for joining us at the end. How was that race for you? Up and down, of course, for everybody, and it's such a difficult circuit. But in the end, a close finish for second position, but just about the run-up spot in the end for yourself. How was the race?
It wasn't too bad. I felt comfortable for a lap or 2, and then I made a mistake, which caused me to spin and I think lose a couple of places. And then after that, I kind of just tried to settle in again. I don't know if the stream caught it, but is it the double right-handers after the pit lane exit? Yeah. It seemed to do this weird glitch. It was like it hit a curb. It just lifted the car fully off the ground, spun me, and it did that twice. So yeah, unfortunately, I had to fight a wee bit harder to try and get second place back, but we got there in the end.
Well, I don't know if you'll be pleased or not. We did see you go head first into the wall through that corner, so that we did catch that. a bit of fortune for us there, or misfortune if you're you, I suppose. How have you found the season so far? You'll be very close to an early championship lead. Not that it really matters after 3 rounds, with so many drivers having missed races as well. Obviously, drop rounds will help them. But how you feel the season's started and how it's going to continue on this season, as we've got still, 6 rounds to go, 6 weeks to go after this one?
Yeah, there's like you're saying, there's a lot of people missing, a lot of fast people like Josh and Luke and all that. They're all like obviously got other things to be doing. So, truthfully, I don't know if I can hang on to them. I'll try my very best. I felt pretty comfortable last week at last week's track, but unfortunately, just again, stupid mistakes that I need to fix that hurts my results. So if I can fix some of that, then maybe there's a good chance of hanging on with them, but we'll just need to see.
All right, well, we look forward to seeing you again next week, of course, hopefully, at Portimao. But for now, Chris, congrats on second, and thanks for chatting to us at the end as well.
Yeah, appreciate it, mate. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Chris McIntosh, second place tonight at Charlotte in the VCR GT3 Championship tonight. Well, that's just about it from us here tonight. I've got to say, I enjoy going to unusual circuits, Paul, especially in GT3s where they're so well used around the world that it's good to take them to a circuit they don't normally drive at. I know they're hard to find, but Charlotte Motor Speedway, I think, is a bit of an odd one. Certainly provided decent action for us. Obviously, a runaway winner would have been nice to see a battle for the lead, but nobody could live with Traffic King tonight. That was very clear.
Yeah, indeed, you're right. 100%. No one could live with him this evening. Like I said earlier on, just absolutely flawless. And as he said in his interview, it's really about not making mistakes. And I think that if Chamoy could have done that this evening, he would have made some real gains this evening in the championship. But wasn't to be, unfortunately for him. And Dave Price will unfortunately for him, had a major issue right at the start. So, yeah. Good different track to see. Like I said, I've not seen many events here, as you rightly pointed out. But yeah, really pleased to be here. Great track. Enjoyed it. Great racing as always from these guys. And on to the next round.
Indeed. And that next round is at Portimao in 1 week's time. We'll be having it live again, same time, same place, on the JPB YouTube channel as always on Friday night. So hope you'll rejoin us then. It will be a double race evening, so more racing for your time here as well, which is always nice, and a reverse grid second race as well, always exciting on a proper Grand Prix circuit next time out. And indeed, that will be the case for the next 3 rounds, because the week after is at the Red Bull Ring, also a reverse grid round with 2 races there, and the Hockenheim Ring as well is a Grand Prix circuit, but that will just be a 1 race evening. That's all to come in the month of November. We'll be live, of course, for the next 6 weeks with the rest of this championship season pretty much taking us all the way to Christmas. So very much hope you will join us for those. For now, I've been Neil O'Leary alongside Paul Glover in the commentary box, and hopefully we'll see you again in 1 week's time at Portimao. But from all of us from Charlotte, it's goodbye.